This is a crisis. Hey everyone, I'm James. This is Unleashed.
Welcome to Unleashed. And don't forget to join us on Patreon for early access and exclusive content. Here are the guys.
Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ahsoka-ish, Acolyte. I might be missing something. Where are you, season 2? Where are you, season 2? Bad Batch, 3 seasons. Clone Wars, canceled. They brought it back to finish it off. Rebels, 4 or 5 seasons, whatever it was. Resistance, 3 seasons. Visions, 2 seasons. There's something to be said about Star Wars animation that flourishes. You know, like droids and Ewoks when I was a kid, they were a lot of fun. Star Wars has that, Lucas is like, they're for 12-year-olds, which is fine. But the animated shows, there's something about it. There's an essence to them. There's something that they're able to gravitate to. I brought this up last week where, the budget of an explosion is the same as the budget of 2 people talking. You can do more in animation. You can get away with more. I think you're able to bend your beliefs and what you believe is real and feasible when it comes to animation. They can get away with more in animation, and we buy into it when it comes to animation. And that's great. But Star Wars, and I might get hate for saying this, and maybe I won't, but I probably will because everybody hates everything. But Star Wars is live action first. It started in live action, and it's still going in live action. And that's what people come for, is the live action. The animated stuff is great. Do not get me wrong. I think we all agree the animated stuff has been probably the strongest that Disney has in the Disney era has given us. I still think Rebels seasons 2 to whenever the last season was, whatever 4 or 5, whatever it was, I think those are some of the greatest Star Wars that we've gotten as a whole. Bad Batch ended up being fun, like a great story. I thought I got off to a clunky start. Resistance, I wasn't a big fan of Resistance, but I also recognized that Resistance wasn't really made for me, and so I was okay with that. And I thought the designs were cool. I like the animation. I like the look of it quite a bit, but I recognize it wasn't made for me. And my nephew was a lot younger when it came out. I guess six years ago. I think he was like 8. He was around 8 years old, and he got a kick out of the first few episodes when he watched them. So I can recognize that. And Clone Wars was Clone Wars, and it did a lot. And Brock always likes to say that it kind of saved the prequels for him, or makes the prequels better, or he prefers it to the prequels. He says something. We have to quote him one day, but so animation's always been fine. And now we have all these shows on Disney Plus with no season 2. We've had Mandalorian season 1, 2, and Andor, which have been pretty well received for the most part. Season 3 of Mandalorian notwithstanding. We don't know what's to come of Andor season 2, but we know that that's where it's going to end. We know that there's no season 3 going to be on the table. This is letting right into Rogue One. Apparently it's going to go right into when Andor kills the informant. Like, it's going to go right to that scene. So there's no chance for another season unless they weasel it in, like they wedge it in there somewhere in the middle of Rogue One. They're like, this happened, kind of like, I don't remember, but in Beauty and the Beast, they made a Christmas special from the winter montage of Beauty and the Beast. They were able to be like, oh yeah, in that montage, this is what happened at Christmas time, which I thought was a genius idea. But I don't see them doing that with Andor season 3 at all. Which, again, it's fine. I'm okay with that. We should all be okay with that. No harm, no foul. But it begs a question, and I've seen a lot of people talking it online the last week mostly. But I'm doing this video this week. Is this the end? Is the Acolyte cancellation the official beginning of the end of live action Star Wars on Disney Plus? Obviously, animation flourishes, like I said. We haven't heard anything about a new animated anything for Disney Plus, unless it happened prior to post recording this, prior to uploading this. In which case, I apologize, but this has been taped. I'm on vacation, so I would question that, and I'm curious about that. If they're going to have more shows, who's going to be in charge of those shows? Because I don't think Filoni had much to do with Bad Batch, other than getting the feet off the ground. But we're getting Ahsoka season 2, which I don't think has been officially confirmed yet, but it's kind of been confirmed. Mandalorian's moving to the big screen, right? And Ahsoka, my guess is at some point, maybe season 3 of Ahsoka is the Filoni movie. Maybe, he moves from the story that we're getting on Disney Plus to the big screen for his movie. So it's just Skeleton Crew. Is there a lot riding on Skeleton Crew? Like if Skeleton Crew blows the socks off of everyone, do they say, "Oh, you know what? This can work"? I think live action on Disney live action Star Wars on Disney Plus, I believe it can work, and by all means, it should work. I think the problem is they're overspending on all of these shows. They're getting friggin' ridiculous, and they're not gaining subscribers because of it. And if you're not gaining subscribers, if you're not getting the viewership, and you're spending all this money on it, what's the point? And I brought Willow up last week, but Willow was just kind of like, thanks, but no thanks. They threw that thing out so fast. Like it wasn't even out for a year. I think they just were like, we're done with you. Get out of here. And I don't know if they do that with Acolyte, but they could. They certainly could. If it's costing more money to keep it there. Now, what they could be doing with the cancellation news is they could be trying to be like, oh, it was canceled. Let's see how many people come back and watch it now. Right? Oh, it was canceled. Why was it canceled? Let me see why it was canceled. And you get more eyeballs on it. But I just don't think, I know the critic score was fairly high, but the audience score wasn't high. And I know there was a lot of talk of downvoting and this and that and review bombing and whatever. But I don't think, I just can't see enough. I could see a lot of people review bombing where you get like low, but how low it is, I can't see review bombing getting it that low. Like if your life is that pathetic that you're going to review, if that many of you are going to review bomb, I don't know what to say. I think people genuinely just weren't interested in it. I just think people were like, it's not for me. Like it starts off with a Jedi dying, and you don't really know why. And I thought the scene, while it was kind of fine, it's kind of cheap and cheesy at the same time. It was very predictable. The show as a whole was predictable. I do think that they marketed it wrong. I think it should have been marketed as a YA show. They should have stuck with the YA, let everybody know like, hey, this is YA, and then gone there. But I still think if you're going to do the different genres, I think you've got to like make it just look better. I think when it's Star Wars, at the end of the day, it shouldn't look like a YA production. It should look like a Star Wars production with a YA tone and characters and whatnot. That's fine. But again, it begs the question: like, what is Star Wars in the new era? What is Star Wars about? It's directionless. So you want to end live action Star Wars on Disney Plus? I don't think I would be like, that sucks. But at the same time, like, what am I losing? I'm losing a weekly show that I enjoy watching, but I don't know why I'm watching them. I don't know why. And that's what frustrates me. It feels like they do these series because they can, because like we need to put Star Wars out there. And the Acolyte is disappointing and frustrating for me with the Acolyte is it felt like it was a purpose to this. It felt like, oh, we're going to learn stuff about like the Sith and the dark side and this and that. And maybe we learned a little bit more about Jedi. Maybe we learned stuff that kind of at the end of the day was like, why did we learn that? Or people were arguing about stupid ages and stuff. And it's like, focus on what's important and relevant to Star Wars. And I still don't know what it is. Do you? Because I don't like when that show ended. I said, I turned to my wife and I said, what was the point of that? Why did I spend 8 weeks watching this show? I don't know. I still don't know. It's like, I would like to know. I would love it if there was a purpose for this show or a reason for me watching this show, other than just to be entertained, which is fine on its own. But I wasn't entertained all the episodes. I thought there were a few episodes I really liked and a few episodes that I really did not like. And I'm one of the small minority of people who watched it. But it comes down to, like, you want to blame it on the cost of live action. You want to blame it on live action. You want to just bring in animated. You want to keep live action on the movie screen. Well, the harsh reality is if you are aimless and directionless on the movie theater screen, you're going to have the same outcome with fans as you did on the small screen. We got to know what your plan is. Not the whole plan, but some of the plan. And if I don't know how you haven't learned this since the sequel trilogy, when people's Luke Skywalker and Rose Tico and all that stuff aside, the complaint is they weren't planned out. There were 3 movies, plop, plop, plop. You're going to love them because they're Star Wars. Mostly true. Mostly true. You got $1 billion out of us on those. But if you do what you're doing now and you're just throwing it on the screen, there's no direction. There's no point. Like what? Eventually, we might go see Mando and Grogu. We might go see the Rey movie if that happens. We might go see whatever is next. But if we start to go to these theaters, we're like, I don't know why they're making these movies. And I'm not saying they all have to be like intertwined and connect and like little subtle hints here. But I want to know what your plan is. If this is a one-off, then make it a one-off. Don't tease a sequel. Don't tease more to come. End it. Give it an ending. A New Hope ended. It doesn't need a sequel. I mean, it's a great sequel. But it doesn't need a sequel. It ends. Vader gets shot off into space, and you're like, oh, Vader's dead. If you don't get Empire Strikes Back, that movie is perfect. Beginning, a middle, and an end. Empire, you can get away a little bit because now it's a sequel. Now you're building off of what we had and that works. But right now, you ended the Skywalker saga. You decided to end the Skywalker saga. I didn't. You did. So if that's over, what's next? And why is it next? And why is it important enough to make a movie about it, to build your franchise around? That's all I think we want to know. If we feel like it's going somewhere, if you have a purpose to what you're watching, I think we'd all be a lot more on board with these shows. But Ahsoka, I don't know why I watched Ahsoka. I don't know why I watched Acolyte. I know why I watched Book of Boba Fett. But again, and the thing is, that's a side story. So even then, it's like, well, who cares? It was a nice side story. It was a nice book I would have got from the library when I was a kid. That's fine. And maybe TV, you don't need so much of the why, but season 1 of Mandalorian, it's because we got to get Baby Yoda to the client. Oh, no, the client wants him for weird, what's it called? Research and stuff. We got to save him from the client now, and I'm going to take him as my own. Season 2, he's a Mandalorian. He's my boy. There was a direction. We felt like we were going somewhere with a purpose. And the last few, there hasn't been. Kenobi, I gotta save Leia, okay, but it still kind of felt pointless. We know it's not even like we know where Leia's going to end up, but they captured Leia like 4 times. Every time it's like, you're not going to get out of this one. And we're sitting there, but she is. We know that. And then they would get her out of there in an unspectacular way. And it's just, give us something to hold on to the love. Give us what Star Wars is about. Star Wars is fun. It's engaging. And it has a purpose. And I still feel, get rid of live action on Disney Plus. Get rid of it. But when you bring it in the theater, make sure I know why I'm sitting in that seat spending $1 bazillion on popcorn, and probably the dumbest popcorn bucket on the freaking planet because everybody's obsessed with stupid popcorn buckets nowadays. But tell me why. Let me know why I'm watching it. I am so frustrated right now because I haven't figured out why they're making these shows or these movies. And look, it's not at the end of the day, they need to know. I don't need to know. I just have to. What I need to know as a viewer is that they know that there is a purpose to it. And again, if they make, let's just say the Rey movie for argument's sake, maybe I should do Mando Grogu, but whatever, one of those movies. If that movie just ends, if it has a definitive ending, and you know what? You can have a little PS if you want. That's fine, but have a definitive ending. I'll be fine. And if you want to make a sequel to either one of those, great. Because guess what? You've built the foundation. Now you can go and play. But they're not building foundations. They feel like they can just play. And that's what drove me nuts about Snoke in the sequels. It was, well, we don't need to know Snoke's past because we didn't know Palpatine's in the original trilogy. Well, his name wasn't Palpatine in the original trilogy. No one knew that he was the Emperor. And we didn't need a past because it was the first, second, and third Star Wars movie we had ever gotten. There was no history to Star Wars. at all. Now we're 40 years into Star Wars, and you're giving me a character who claims to have been around forever, is super old, is disfigured, but you don't care to tell us where he's from. And then at the last second, you throw him in a tube. And it was like, oh, yeah, it was CVP. Sure. Again, just tell us give us the why. These movies made $1 billion. So obviously, what anyone online says doesn't matter. But these movies made $1 billion. Your audience is there for the ride. Make it a good one. And when you go on a roller coaster, you see you're going up the hill or up the hill, whatever. Your heart's beating fast because you're going up, and when you go up, you're going to go down. But with these shows, I'm like, is there a hill? I don't know. And then they throw you on one at the last second, like, and you're dropped, and you're like, well, whatever. Okay. There's a line in The Simpsons: anticipation is blah blah blah. It's a great line. It's from, I think, the first season where Marge might be having an affair, and they go to brunch. And all I know about brunches, it comes with a little piece of cantaloupe. I can't remember the quote. This is really bad. But anyway, it's like that. It's like anticipation. We got to anticipate. Give us something to care for, to root for, to cheer for, to watch, to want to see how it progresses, how it evolves. Don't just throw a show on Disney Plus because you can't. I know, it's easier said than done. But, I mean, they had, 4 years to work on the Acolyte? 4 years. 8 episodes, 30-minute episodes. I think he could have given less and made it felt like more in each of those episodes. And I think if you do that, you get a season 2. But you try to cram a lot in, and I don't know whose fault it was. I don't know who mandated it. I don't know if it was Leslie Headland. I don't know if it was because that's not what we were told the Acolyte was when we first started watching the Acolyte. So I don't know. I just feel like we're at this crossroads of Star Wars and live action, and it works very well with animation. But for some reason, like all these animated shows that I listed at the beginning, they've all had multiple seasons. Yes, Star Wars live action shows, we've had one with a second and third season. One. Obviously, Andor will make that 2. Ahsoka could make that 3, possibly. But season 1, 2, and 3 of Bad Batch, I felt like they came before the first 2 seasons of Andor. Like they were bam, 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 we got them. Because we know we're making them. We have a plot, we have a purpose, we have it, let's go, let's do it. And live action, it's almost been like, well, if I ended on a cliffhanger, maybe they'll give me that second season. Or tell a good first season, and they'll give you a second season. And if you lay little breadcrumbs of where you want that to go, then maybe we'll watch your second season because maybe you'll be allowed to make it because you made a really good first season. And I'll have faith that you're going to make a really good second season. Because I was interested in a second season of Acolyte because of where it ended, but I don't have faith it would have been any good. I don't have faith in that, unfortunately. I would have watched it. I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm going to watch it. But I don't know what to expect anymore. I mean, Ahsoka season 2 is in the same boat. I'm going to watch it. I don't know if it's going to be any good or if I'm going to care about it. I hope I do. I was enjoying season 1 for the most part. It did things I was like, whatever, that's weird. And then it ended. It just stopped, Also, stop stabbing people with lightsabers and having no consequence of it. Just stop. That's it. So I don't know. Do you guys think we're going to get more live action Star Wars on Disney Plus? Again, the budgets have to come down. They have to figure out a way to make these shows on lesser budgets. I hope they do. I'm not confident we'll see one for quite some time. I mean, Skeleton Crew and Andor season 2, obviously. But I also think it might give them some well, even if they don't take a full hiatus, if they take a break, they say, okay, we have Skeleton Crew. And I said this a few weeks ago, Skeleton Crew, Andor season 2. Let's take a beat. Let's take a breath. Let's figure out the next one. Let's think about it. Let's think long and hard about it. What is it going to be? Why is it going to be it? How are we going to do it? I'll be okay with that. I think you guys will too, because at the end of the day, this is just entertainment. We're supposed to have fun watching it. It's not that important in the grand scheme of things. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give us a like and a subscribe. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments down below. And until next time, may you be the master of your own universe.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.